at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio.
NBA last night, the Magic beat the Cavaliers 104-94. Darius Garland with 36 points and 6 rebounds in the loss. On the NFL schedule this week, the Bengals host the Vikings on Saturday afternoon. The Bengals have wins in 2 straight. The Steelers are on the road at Indianapolis. Pittsburgh's lost 2 in a row. The NFC North leading Lions host the Broncos. Then on Sunday afternoon, Cleveland plays host to Chicago, while the Bills are home against the Cowboys. The Sabres beat the Coyotes 5-2 in Buffalo on Monday. The Sabres have wins in 2 of 3. Eric Robinson with a goal and 2 assists. Buffalo broke the game open with 3 goals in the second period. The Stars beat the Red Wings 6-3. Dallas scored 2 goals in each period. Tonight, the Penguins look to snap a 4-game winless skid when they host the Coyotes, while the Red Wings head to St. Louis. For lightning fast updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of North America's most popular sports apps. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
Save big every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Save $100 on select master-built smokers for the grill enthusiast in your life. Plus, get up to 55% off select smart home gifts for everyone on your list. Order eligible in-stock items by 2 p.m. to get same-day delivery. Lowe's knows deals every day. Valid through 12/13 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Let's be real. The odds of a high school athlete getting a college scholarship and making it to the pros are pretty slim. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to dream of becoming a pro athlete, even a famous one. But that's not why I play. My reason why? I love the competition.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to challenge myself.
My reason why is love for the game.
And hey, if we don't make it to the pros or onto the cover of Sports Illustrated, that's okay, because there's every reason to believe we'll excel in something even bigger than sports. we'll excel in life.
There are lots of great reasons to play high school sports. Tell us your reason using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken. And when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
It is time for another episode of By All Means right here on Western Reserve Radio, Season 4, Episode 39, 159 overall, presented by Mill Creek Golf Course. Visit millcreekmetroparks.org for more information. Find us on Facebook, Western Reserve Radio, on Twitter at WR_radio. Download the Live 365 app or tune in. Go to westernreserveradio.com. All part of the iMedia One network. And the penultimate episode of By All Means here on Western Reserve Radio. We will do it one final time to wrap up the fourth and final season for now of By All Means here on Western Reserve Radio. And with that, we go to the phones and which is strange for me to say, the former head coach of the Canfield Cardinals, Mike Pavlansky, is on the phone. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. Appreciate you having me on.
So let's jump in. And of course, my first question is, Coach, why now of all the time to decide it's time to step away?
It's just time. There's nothing more to that. I always heard about, people getting ready to retire, and they said a few years before you do retire, it starts to creep into your mind. And that certainly happened about 3 or 4 years ago, headed to the stadium and one morning. And, I asked myself, how many more years can you do this? And, very quickly went away, became a little bit more prevalent this past summer, and then got into the season, had a lot of fun, as always, with our coaches and players. And, once the season ended, took some time and just feel really good about stepping away at this point in time.
And I'm sure you've been asked this question, whether by a member of the media or in private. Would you ever coach with your brother?
Nah, I don't see that happening, Mark, to be honest with you. You never say never, but, Tom doesn't need my help, believe me. He's doing a great job at Poland, and, that's his program. And, I'll certainly, if he asks for some help behind the scenes, I'm certainly up for that. We've talked about that already, but certainly never going to help him with Canfield.
When you look at it, too, have you ever thought about, I heard you mention it to one of the media members, is there a chance you strap it up and coach again, or is this a decision you're done?
Yeah, again, never say never, but I'm 99.9% sure that I'll never walk a sideline again. If I still had the itch to coach, it'd be at Canfield as the head coach, and I think that time certainly has passed.
So let's talk about your time at Canfield, Coach. You've got 211 career wins, 183 of those at Canfield, including a state championship a couple years ago. I know, of course, that has to be at the top of your memories, but take us through some others that you look back and you think about in your time at Canfield.
Obviously there's just so many great memories. In the 27 years I was at Canfield, the 23 that I was fortunate to be the head coach. And, to pick out some of those, certainly would do a disservice to the other ones. Obviously, the state championship game was, really special, not only for our team, but our community, our school, professionally for our coaches. But there'll be time to look back on the other wins and sit down and talk to those players and coaches about those special nights. But certainly the state title game a year ago was very special.
Coach, when you look at it, and let's go back from your time at Canfield to now, how do you think the high school game has changed over that 20-plus years? And in your opinion, has it changed for the better or has it changed for the worse?
Well, certainly, I think it's changed for the better, Mark. The only constant in life is change. And, two things that really stand out to me about high school football and, some things we were faced with at Canfield is, number one, the technology certainly has made the game a lot better. You could, watch plays on the sideline. In sideline huddle, we're allowed to do that. The technology to have plays cut up from huddle and sent out to your players at any point in the day, I think is a positive. Certainly, from a social standpoint, the social media has really exploded. Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and Instagram and all that other stuff, can certainly be a positive for you if you use it in a positive way, but certainly can be a real negative too if not used in the correct way. And we try to talk to our guys about that and how to use social media and represent themselves and the school and the team in a proper manner.
I know we've talked about this before, but over the years, Coach, the playoff system and the number of teams that qualified has definitely changed. When I was in high school in the early 90s, it was just 4. And, the number continues to grow to 16 now. Is there a perfect number? And a lot of coaches now will tell me, publicly or privately, depending on what they want to reveal, 16 is too much. What do you think?
Absolutely, 16 is too much. The Coach Association was never in favor of that, nor were we ever asked by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's on them. It's certainly too many. What's the perfect number? I thought the perfect number was 8. Certainly this year we had a number 12 seed get to the state finals in Division I in Springfield. The Coach Association did a study for 3 years and suggested to the Ohio High School Athletic Association that we could increase to 12. And, they, went back and, didn't give us an answer, but 3 weeks later, I think it was, came out and said, we're going to go to 16. And again, totally against that. And again, it's not on the football coaches. That's on Columbus.
And you know what? There's been a lot of things that make me question Columbus, and I'm sure you too, from, moving all the games to Friday. And I was told that was a request by the Coaches Association to play all the games on Friday. As a media person, it makes it hard for us because, we could cover 3 games on a Friday night and 3 games on a Saturday night. So that's 6 local teams we could give the exposure to in a postseason game. Can't do that now because it's only on Friday night. And then you look at the prices of the tickets. And I'll be honest with you, up until this year, I've been doing this for 27 years. I didn't even know how much a ticket was till it became a conversation. And then that was something that definitely shocked me. What do you think about those 2 topics?
Yeah, those 2 topics, Mark, as far as Friday nights, I was not involved in any of those conversations. I'd be surprised, to be honest with you, if the football coaches said Friday nights only. I don't see how that was beneficial, to the state as far as ticket revenue. As far as media exposure, obviously, for so many years, they did Friday and Saturday, and the schools adjusted to whatever night they played on. If you played every Friday night, and then all of a sudden the playoffs went to a Saturday, you adjusted, because you were in the playoffs and you adjusted the week and got used to a new schedule. But I was not involved. Those conversations took place. I was not involved in those in Columbus, and be very surprised if our Coach Association said all Friday. As far as the ticket prices, hey, that's set by Columbus too. And I think, unfortunately, they're pricing, families out of going to see, their community play, the community teams play, because at one point it was $15 per ticket until the Ohio State House stepped in and got it back down to 12, I think it is. So now you're looking at, a family of 4, there's $48. You got to pay to park probably. You want to get something at the concession stand, let alone the gas prices today. That's a tall ask in today's society. I'm not too sure what their rationale is other than to make more money off the backs of, high school kids.
Coach, do you think there is a separation between coach and player in the state and fan in the state right now with everything that's going on the last few years?
There's certainly a separation between the coaches and the state association, and hopefully we can mend those fences. But I think, just me speaking, my humble opinion, we're always ready and willing to talk to the state about anything involving football, but they don't reach out.
That makes it difficult to get anything done. Speaking of the opening at Canfield, will you be involved in, or do you want to be involved in, the process of naming the person that precedes you as the head coach at Canfield?
Yeah. I haven't been asked to be involved, nor do I want to be involved, Mark. It's time for me to step back, and the people in Canfield, the administration. There's great administrators there, especially our new principal, Dr. Potts, and assistant principal Rick Prescott. And athletic director Greg Cooper. They're going to find the right person, whether it be inside or outside.
Having covered that school for as long as I have, and I don't even know how to word this. What's so special that's going on there that it seems like every program seems to win at one level or another when it comes to Canfield schools?
I appreciate that, Mark. To be honest with you, our kids come from tremendous home lives, great families, whether it be one parent, two parents, and they're expected to come to school and be the best students. And if they choose to play athletics, the best athletes they can possibly be. Secondly, we're fortunate to be around some great coaches who put time and effort in. And, most importantly, I think right now is, we're just hitting a run here in the last 10 years of some really, really good athletes. And support from home, support by the coaches, support from the school system, all lends itself to, a positive outcome.
Coach, as I look back over the last few years, it seems like, for the most part, with a few exceptions, we are losing the older generation of head coaches that are stepping down and retiring. And it seems like they're different. And, a lot of the older coaches, they remember your name, they remember your affiliation, they remember, about who you are, rather than you're the newspaper writer, you're the TV person, you're the guy that calls the game on radio. Not that there's a difference in coaching ability, but what is it about that older generation that just seems to cover all the bases and care about all of it?
Well, I really don't know, Mark, to be honest with you. Obviously anybody who's ever covered our program, if they took the time and effort to cover our program, we wanted to get to know them on a personal basis and welcome them into our facility, or take phone calls or answer emails. And that's just the way I was raised by my dad and my mom. And, anybody showing an interest, you've got to reciprocate that interest.
When you look back, all the way back, you've had the opportunity to put a lot of student athletes into the next level of playing the game, whether it be Division III to Division I. How special is it to have that opportunity to have somebody that played under you continue to play after the high school level?
Yeah, I think that's tremendous. But, all of our players, no matter what they decide to do, whether they play college football or not, or just go be a student or go get a job, we want to see them succeed and be as helpful as possible. Certainly the people that have gone on to college to play football, even though we're not able to go see them during the season play, you keep up with them and see how they're doing and stay in contact and, again, offer your services if you can ever be of help.
I know it's not been all that long since you made this public, but have you thought about what you'll do with your time now?
No, I still involved at the school. The administration's been very grateful, and helpful to me to continue the weight room and continue with recruiting of our student athletes until a new person's named. And once a new person's named, then I'll totally step back. But right now, just involved in normal December activities that a high school head coach does. And, so I really haven't looked, to the future.
Have you thought about, and again, this is just something that's happened publicly recently. Like, you look at somebody like Coach K, who stepped away from Duke, and he's only made an appearance at 2 games, there at Cameron since he stepped away from the program. Have you thought about, will it be, you'll see you in the stands on a Friday night once the season comes around, or? No.
Mark, number one, Coach K and myself should never be in the same sentence. Okay? I appreciate that. No, I haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest with you. No. Those decisions will be made, as I start, full retirement whenever the new head coach is made. And, we'll go from there. But certainly will be a Canfield Cardinal the rest of my life and do anything I can to help out Canfield schools or the football program.
As we wrap up, Coach, is there anything you would want to say to the fans, to the community, to the people that supported you in the program while you were there?
Just a big thank you. There's not enough words or enough time to go through the number of people that helped our program succeed year in, year out, support our program. But just certainly grateful to the Canfield community for having me for 23 years, the administrators in the schools and the teachers that I taught with for 27 years in Canfield. And just grateful that way and blessed to be in one place, for so long. And, again, we could sit here for hours upon hours and still not get through everybody who played a part of our football program and help it to, what it is today.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time today. A thank you for the time you've always taken, whether it's a request for a pregame interview, a roster, information about your players. You've always been gracious with your time. And for the rest of the media in the Valley, thank you for that.
Appreciate it, Mark. Have a great holiday.
That is the former head coach of the Canfield Cardinals, Mike Pavlansky. We'll be right back after this on By All Means.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. By All Means continues right here on Western Reserve Radio. A big thank you to Coach Pavlansky, Coach Mike Pavlansky, joining us in the opening segment. 183 wins and a state championship for the Canfield Cardinals, stepping aside last week. Definitely appreciate him taking the time to join us, saying, it was the right time. He had thought about it for a while, and we will see who becomes the next head coach of a very good Canfield football program that Coach Pavlansky has definitely left in great shape for the person that takes that program over. Time to jump into what's trending with a reminder coming up in the next segment. My first co-host of this show when we started back 4 years ago now. Ryan Alessio is going to join me on the phone to talk a little bit about the last 4 years, talk about sports in the Valley, in the greater Cleveland, Ohio area. So he'll be coming up in the next segment. I want to talk about the transfer portal, because what a topic of conversation that has been. Well, the last couple of years since they changed the rules, basically be making it a free-for-all, where if you can get an NIL deal that's for more money or for any money, you can jump ship, almost like a professional sports free agent, where you see players playing, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 different schools over their duration of their college career. And you see, the major teams are hit by this in multiple ways because, let's use Ohio State, for example, or Notre Dame or somebody like that, where you have, and you're expected to have several players making the jump to the NFL, whether it's graduating seniors, that happens. That's the way things work. But if you have players leaving early after their third year, entering the NFL draft, you lose numbers there. If you have players, whether it be starters, backups, third, fourth string that aren't getting any run, they think they can play, so they're going to go to a different institution to play. You're going to lose those players. So it's not only affecting the programs where they now have to fill holes that they didn't expect to, whether through the portal or not. But you look at games where they're just not even going to be the same in the bowl game. And, players for Ohio State, whether they go pro or not, like, Henderson or Marvin Harrison or Tui Molowau or those guys, Burke, that's kind of expected, but you now have so many holes to fill when it comes to the bowl game. And I've always felt this way about, and the argument is, well, you committed to playing for your university. Well, sure you did, but if you're playing in the, fill in the blank bowl game, that's not the playoff or the national championship, do you really feel like it's worth risking an injury that could delay your ability to play in the NFL, could hinder the fact that you may or may not get drafted? And can you take out an insurance policy? Sure. But I'm talking about the fact that if you're playing in the Bahamas Bowl, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, there's 39 non-postseason playoff bowl games this year. Do those really matter as much as the playoff? If you sit out the playoff, one, you're probably the reason or one of the many reasons why your team got to the Final Four for the playoffs with a chance to play for the national championship. So you're really hurting your team. That's when I have a problem. But if you're in these other lesser bowl games till the field expands to 12, I don't really have a problem with it. And my own team, Ohio State, is being affected by that, by enters into the portal, by players that are going to leave early and go to the NFL. Ohio State, for those of you that care about this kind of stuff, they opened up as a favorite in the game against Missouri on the 29th. They're no longer the favorite in that game based on transfers, enters into the portal, and potential people leaving early, although we haven't heard from a lot of those Ohio State players just quite yet what they're doing. If you followed Marvin Harrison finishing a distant fourth in the Heisman this weekend, then he said he hasn't really figured it out yet. Do I think he should probably go pro? I do. But would I love to see him come back to Ohio State? I sure would. So, he said he never beat the team up north. There's things he didn't do at Ohio State that he wanted to accomplish that he hasn't. So we will see once those announcements come out, just what's going to happen with that. I'm just curious, too, from a hot stove baseball perspective, we've seen the Guardians signed a free agent pitcher today that had an ERA just south of 6 that played for the Reds last year. And they brought back Austin Hedges. I like Hedgie. Can he catch most of the time? Yes, although he struggled with the Pirates last year. Guy struggles with the bat, but if he's just going to back up Bo Naylor, it's not that big a deal. But I hope that there is something else for the Guardians before the start of the season. So we will see. Cavs, tough stretch right now. Lose last night in Orlando to the Magic after you just beat them a few days earlier at home. And now you've got the very strange home and home with the Celtics, who, by the way, are undefeated at home, tonight and Thursday night. You've got games against the Celtics on the road in Boston. And, back-to-backs are one thing, but that's usually home and away. This is a rare road from a Cavs perspective, playing a very, very good Celtics team tonight and Thursday night. Can't leave this segment with not talking about Joe Flacco and the things that he has done the last 2 games for the Cleveland Browns. over 300 yards and 3 touchdown passes. How about this for your interesting information when it comes to Joe Flacco? He was the first quarterback to throw 3 touchdown passes in a game over 30 yards since Brian Sipe 33 years ago. And the Browns threw the ball down the field occasion in the Bernie Kosar era, but it wasn't that type of team, and they weren't that type of offense. You have Slaughter and Brennan and Langhorne and Ozzie, and they threw the football, but yeah, they weren't a real downfield attacking style offense, but I would have thought somebody in the 3,000 people that have played quarterback for the Browns from 1980 to this week would have thrown 3 touchdown passes over 30 yards since Brian Sipe and the Cardiac Kids. Flacco named the starter for the rest of the year. Obviously the best decision for the Cleveland Browns and Coach Stefanski. And let's be honest, even from a Browns perspective, all these games down the stretch, they are winnable. Bears, Texans, Jets, Bengals, all winnable football games. You start with the Bears at home. The Texans, CJ Stroud, unfortunately in concussion protocol. Don't know when he will be back. The Jets won this week. Who knows will be their quarterback. And then the Bengals are actually playing pretty good the last couple weeks with their backup. I honestly feel like if they want to hold on to that top wild card spot, because they're not catching the Baltimore Ravens, they got to split these last 4. You got to get to 10 wins to really feel like you are safe and secure in a playoff spot for this year. Also want to congratulate the Youngstown State men's basketball team. Boy, they are playing excellent basketball. They are 7-3 after a sweep over a pair of MAC schools on the road the last week or so. Had a chance to go to the Cleveland State game when they opened up conference play at home. A nice, comfortable win over the Vikings, although I would have liked to see a few more people in the stands for that game against Cleveland State. It was a nice, intimate gathering, but this group, which is a new group, a lot of new faces from last year to this year. I think there's only like 3 returning players. They need your support. They've got some interesting games coming up. They've got Navy at 2 o'clock next Thursday. And a doubleheader. The ladies play at 11. The men play at 2. Coming up next for YSU, the next 2 both at home. They're going to take on a couple of teams from Grove City's conference that are at the Division III level. They're going to play Bethany and Westminster the next 2 games. The Bison are just 3-6 on the season. They come to the Beakley Center on a Thursday night. That's another one of those 6:30 starts, by the way. Kudos to everyone in the athletic department for making that decision. You know how nice it was to go to a midweek game and be home by 9 o'clock? That was a fantastic move by the athletic people at Youngstown State University, the athletic program, making that decision to move the weekday games to 6:30. Absolutely love that. The Penguins home Thursday night to take on the 3-6 Bethany Bison. Ladies playing well as well. They have won their last couple of games after a rough stretch. So it is that time of the year where it is, starting, you get the football, you got baseball, hot stove, basketball, college and pro. Got that big Arizona-Purdue game for about, none of you listening out there except for me. Looking forward to that on Saturday afternoon on Peacock. So it's that fun time of year where everything is going on. You can talk about all those sports. And one of the reasons why we love talking sports on this show, and we're full swing in high school basketball. That's also going great in the Valley once again this year. So make sure to get out, support your local program. They deserve as much support as you give your high school football team for all the hard work they put in. We'll take a break. We will come back. We'll have more By All Means coming up next.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you can miss a lot.
Mark, you're 100% right. He does not get enough credit around the league. He gets, obviously, Coach Calhoun and the assistants and the rest of the players here at YSU know how valuable he is. He is right now their best player on the floor, hands down.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
There is nothing like having a promo on your own show that says you are absolutely right, because, quite frankly, I don't hear that often. To the phones! Back to when this show first started 4 years ago and many years before that, Ryan and I did a lot of different sports talk shows on a lot of different levels. And sometimes you have your own control, Ryan. You can say you're done with something and moving on to a new project. And that's what I decided to do.
Yeah, and you know what? Heck of a run over there at Western Reserve. That's always what I like to say. I take the wrestling phrase, whether it was a good run we had on 1240, or if it was a good run doing football games together, doing some podcasting together. And as you know, my radio run came to an end a couple of years back. Never mind the cup of coffee I might have had up here somewhere. But it's always a good run, so congratulations. And I see you're joining me and others in a new chapter, so congratulations.
Yeah, I'm still going to do games on different levels, but it's time for a different approach for the talk show. But I thought about it. I was making my way over here to someone that told me that I may have done a show with years ago. Stop reading off the internet and start actually talking to people. I wonder who that was.
I don't know. That sounds like something that somebody who thinks they know more than they do might have said.
And it's one of those where it took this show changing over the last couple of years where I would bring on a co-host and we would talk to the format it's finishing up now where there's a guest in the first segment, there's a guest in the last segment, but I keep that middle segment left for me to just basically rant about things that are making me mad. Like, I don't know if you were listening. Today I talked about the transfer portal ruining college football. With the Guardians spend any money? And by the way, you know, just the impression that I've gotten from Joe Flacco the last couple of weeks. And it's one of those where there may have been a time where, like, I can't do that. I can't carry something like that by myself. But this show on this platform, I think, has really changed that and my approach going forward.
Yeah, and I'm glad it has. I knew you had it in you. I mean, that was, and I think, you know, what we always try to do is, you know, kind of get you out of that announcer mode and let, you know, your personality come out. And I knew you could do it. You know, I was like, you can do this, man. You don't have to just put yourself in one category as just being a very good, great play-by-play, which you are, obviously, with the run with Grove City and the high school football. I mean, previously, when I got tapped to do some high school basketball, you were the first person I called to be like, hey, you got to give me some help here. But I'm really happy that you were able to take the opportunity with Western Reserve and really find your voice as a personality, because I feel like, you know, from the times you've had me on this show and a couple other times I was able to listen when I wasn't working, you've come such a long way with that. And it's great to hear. So if nothing else, I'm very happy that you were able to find your voice, so to speak, when it came to bringing out your personality and hosting. I think that is really great to hear.
It's so different because, you know, as a play-by-play guy, whether you work for a specific team or you're just doing a game of the week, you're basically, you know, it's a just the facts, ma'am type situation. You see what happens and you repeat the action. In this case, it's one of those where you have to develop an opinion. You have to be willing to give that opinion, and you have to stick with whatever your opinion is. You can't waver in it, because if you're in a forum where people can call and talk to you, they'll tear you apart for not sticking to what you have thought the entire way.
Oh, yeah, you'll have that. I've had plenty of people say you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. And I would say probably later on, I started to do that a little more because I became aware that it's okay to change your opinion of mine based on new facts. But you're absolutely right. If we're not talking about facts and we're just shooting the bleep, as people like to say, if you have an opinion and you feel strongly about it, and, you know, that's one of the things that we would work on with our show is, okay, here's my opinion. Now, the best thing you can do is argue the other side with yourself. So before you even, you know, you open up the microphone, you open up the phone lines, before you even go on the air, you know, what we would try to do is take whatever opinion we had or whatever topic. It's easy to come up with what you believe in. It's easy to come up and defend your opinion, but you have to know what might be coming. And that's something that, you know, anybody that ever wanted to do something like this, any kind of talk format, whether it's radio, podcasting, whatever it is, it's important to have your opinion, hold on to that opinion, and then know what might be coming at you. So again, I mean, just skills you're developing since you've been doing this show. And it's just, to me, radio, podcasting, it's all been theater of the mind. That's why I preferred it, even though, you know, I've been on TV and stuff, but I always like the radio podcasting format because you're able to create the image. You're able to take people on that journey. And you've been, you know, you've been able to do that now and have your opinions and know how to go back and forth with those opinions with other people. So it's a lot of fun sometimes.
And, you know, and the thing too, the approach for me kind of changed from, you know, first of all, early on, it was like, well, who do I think people want to hear from? And that is important when you're considering your audience, obviously, but it kind of changed the last 2 years to who do I want to talk to and who do I want to hear from? And that turned into, obviously, a lot of announcers that have come through this show that I've been lucky enough to talk to like, having Doc Emmerich on a couple years ago, or I've become friends with Tim Alcorn, who does the Cavs games. Had him on 4 or 5 times, got to hang out with him for a game a couple weeks ago up in the Joe Tate Perch. I had, Ohio State announcers on. I've had a lot of different people on, Everett Fitzhugh, who we know from his time when he was in the Youngstown with the Phantoms. He's now the voice of the Seattle Kraken. Had him on before.
Which is awesome.
So it's one of those where I was like, I want to learn from all these announcers. So that's who I'm going to try and get. And I've had a chance to get a lot of those guys.
Yeah, and that's what's fun. That's what's fun about having your show, having it on a platform that gives you the freedom. I don't believe there's probably... I can't see on Jim over there telling you what to do or what guests to have or things like that. So it's nice when you have that platform and format so you can create it the way you want to. And, one of your passions, it is broadcasting, it is play-by-play, it is that announcing. And to be able to have some of those people on, people want to hear that. Because who has the best stories? It's the guys that are around the team calling the game. We were talking a couple weeks ago when we were on the phone about you with Grove City and how was it one of the coaches or whatever after came and said, "Oh, we did this together," and I was like, "That's awesome! You're in. You're part of the group." And those are the people that have the best stories. So to have Alcorn on, Webster, Doc Emmerich, which is incredible. I mean, you're going to get the best stories and you're going to learn the most from them. So it's cool that you had that ability and that freedom to be able to mold the show into what you wanted it to be.
So let's talk about one of our favorite topics whenever we get together. Of course, we tend to talk a lot, especially during the Cavs season, and a tough loss last night in Orlando. But boy, no time to breathe. I don't remember it happening very often where you have a back-to-back, but 2 straight games against an NBA team on the road like the Cavs will face tonight and Thursday against the Celtics, who, by the way, haven't lost a home game yet.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny that you brought it up like that because I knew we had Boston next, and yesterday I went to Monday Night Raw because why wouldn't I? And I knew the Cavs played the Magic, and I was following it on my phone, and I saw they had the third quarter went backwards on them, and it kind of just threw them off, and you're going to have that. Orlando's a good team. But tonight, I totally thought that game was – I had the schedule wrong, and I was checking my fantasy lineup, and it said – because I have Mobley, and it's like at Boston. I'm like, oh, no, they have to play that tonight? And you know me, I'm usually very up on the schedule and don't miss Cavs games, but I got thrown off. And now I'm thinking, man, it would have been nice to have a day or so in between because I know Levert's out, Mobley's out. But, I mean, that's just the NBA schedule. You're going to have rough patches, and then you're going to have patches where they kind of work in your favor. And we're coming off of a really nice homestand a week or so ago. So, I mean, it's just the schedule balancing out now. If you're going to ask me what I think is going to happen in the game tonight, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not too confident going into that game, but I did. It was interesting. They showed it, the graphic during the game on the TV side last night. They are, I believe, 1 win better through this many games, not counting last night, going into last night than they were at that point last year. But my question is, are they a better team than last year at this point? Are they a worse team than last year at this point, or do we not know? And I wonder which one it is.
Yeah, it's such a strange thing to see. It as you said, they have been trending a game better before last night, but something for a while kind of seemed off. And as crazy as it sounds, it almost seemed like in the beginning of the year, and I would say over the last week or two, it's kind of looked better. But did you ever feel like, especially the first, 5-10 games of the season, they didn't look like they were having fun? And I feel as though this team, with the way their personalities are, if they're not having fun on the court and being themselves, it seems like it almost puts like the grip on them or too much pressure. Did you feel like that they just didn't appear to be themselves to start the beginning of the year?
Yeah, they weren't as loose, and that group really liked playing together last year, and that's what really drove them, as you said. I mean, and you had the Mitchell injury at the beginning of the year, and I even asked Tim Alcorn this question. Was the fact that Mitchell had said, no contract negotiations once the season starts. Was that hanging over the team a little bit, not knowing if he would be there and, by the trade deadline or going forward?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat that again? My bad.
Just the fact that, the whole thing with Mitchell saying he wasn't going to negotiate his contract. I wonder if that was hanging over them.
I would hope not. I mean, I would hope that wouldn't be something that would derail the team. It almost seemed like to me that they felt too much pressure. You tell me what you think. That they felt too much pressure because they had a bad playoff performance and they heard everybody talk. And realistically, yes, it was terrible they got bounced by the Knicks like that. But at the end of the day, that season was still very good and very fun. So do you think maybe they were feeling too much pressure to come out and play a certain way? And it also looked like Garland and Mitchell in the beginning of the year, maybe because, they were each missing some games, their relationship seemed to be a little bit more head-butting than you. Not that there's any stories or anything, but just their body language. So I don't know. Do you think it was maybe the pressure coming into this season after the playoffs, or?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I definitely think the pressure could be something, but I also feel like this team is now playing the way they are built. They are, like we have argued about, to each other, they're actually running up and down the floor and they're pushing the pace, and that's what that team should be doing because they have bigs that can run the floor. So, I think they're finally stylistically playing the right way. Maybe it just took them a little time to figure it out.
Yeah, it's a long year. And I think didn't last year we lost the first game, then we won 8 in a row, and then there was a period right after that we lost 5 in a row. So I guess that's just kind of how the team goes. I just want to see them because when you watch people, and this is why I always like watching teams that have fun. That's why the Browns defense is fun to watch because they're having fun. They're celebrating, they're making plays, they're dancing. When the team is having fun, and I think people forget this is supposed to be fun, and they're
Ryan, unfortunately, we are up against the break. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. This is By All Means. We'll be right back.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
That's where it all begins, with the rich sports history that we have in the Valley. We're going to talk national, we're going to talk regional, but it all begins here at home. So that is where a lot of those topics and conversations that we have with you every Tuesday are going to come from.
By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio and streaming live on westernreserveradio.com.
Hiya, Queen of All Knowledge here, reminding you, creeps out there on the internet hack, scam, and trick savvy cyber users every day, but we can fight back. It's as easy as IC3. If you're a victim of online crime, don't give up. Visit IC3, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Your tips help the FBI track down cyber criminals around the world. Report your crime to www.ic3.gov today.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
Wrapping up this 159th episode of By All Means, right here on Western Reserve Radio. Thank you to today's guests, of course, the former head coach of the Campfield Cardinals, Mike Pavlansky, and then we just heard from my longtime friend and many-time co-host Ryan Alessio, who joined the show. Don't forget, next week is the final episode for the foreseeable future for By All Means here on Western Reserve Radio. Still verifying who is going to be coming on and joining us for the final show, but we can tell you Brian Tonar, Mill Creek Golf Course, who has been the sponsor of this show since day one of the 160 episodes. He will be the final guest in our last segment of the show next week. And we definitely appreciate everything that he has done. And we, of course, encourage you to check out Mill Creek Golf Course. Book your tee time by going to millcreekmetroparks.org. You can already book those tee times for 2024. So that is definitely something to get you through all these cold times. And coming up next week, we will wrap up. We will look back. We will think back to the previous 159 episodes of this show here on Western Reserve Radio. We'll thank all the proper people, including the coach, Bob Gessler. We are in his house in the Gessler Propane Studios. Jim Craven, Dave Ferris, two of my very best friends that I get to work with when I come to the Western Reserve Radio studios. I appreciate those guys very, very much and continue to look forward to high school broadcasts and semi-pro broadcasts and being with friends like Matt Empsch and Matt Lipsack and Dave Clark and Pat Lucia. Got a great family here at the iMedia One Network. Until then, for owner-operator Jim Craven, chief engineer Dave Ferris, my name is Marc Means. You've been listening to By All Means, brought to you by Mill Creek Golf Course right here on Western Reserve Radio.